As you know, we've all been watching, listening, and reading about the events in Orlando for 2 days now, and the rhetoric has, as expected, been harsh and not always constructive. Our hope for today is to have a discussion that acknowledges our collective grief and outrage, but also points a way towards some common ground. Joining us today are Abdul Mubarak Rowe. He is the Communications Director for the New Jersey chapter of the Council on Relations. Alexander Rubian is president of New Jersey's Second Amendment Society. Christian Fuscarino is the executive director of Garden State Equality, and Asiya Akil is president of the Essex County chapter of Million Mom March, which is a chapter of the Brady campaign. It's worth noting that June is not only the month of Ramadan, a month filled with blessings, but it is also Pride Month across most of the country and New Jersey. It's a celebration of freedom and life. Today, the events in Orlando were clearly an act of terror, but they were also evidently a very specific act of hate against a group of specific people. So let's start with that convergence. Christian, your first thoughts when you heard that these shootings were at a club catering to the LGBT community?
Yeah, it was about 6 a.m. I opened up the Facebook app like so many of us do, and I saw posts from my friends who go to nightclubs in New Jersey. Some of them own them, yeah. And they were just devastated because this is them. This is our community. These are people that we know. And I wasn't sure, I thought maybe one person got shot in a drive-by outside, and then the story was developing, and I realized how severe this really was. And, obviously you just needed to take time to digest what I just found out.
Abdul, did you find yourself, when you first heard about this, did you find yourself saying, please, don't let it be an Arab, don't let it be a Muslim?
You know, my heart really sank because here we are coming on the very heels of the celebration of the life of one of the greatest Muslims that ever lived in America, Muhammad Ali. And immediately thereafter, you have this savage committing this horrendous act who claimed that he's Muslim and committing this horrific act. So, yes, I was hopeful and praying that, this was not a Muslim, macabre as it may sound.
Yes. Alexander, the gunman had a legally purchased semi-automatic handgun and an AR-15 style semi-automatic rifle, often referred to as an assault rifle. There have been efforts to ban these weapons. They had been banned until about 2004. Robert Moore of Ceasefire New Jersey said, if such a ban were still in place today, the Orlando shooting could have been avoided. You disagree?
I completely disagree. The type of weapon, the type of tool that he used would be insignificant. As we see in the Boston bombing massacre, if he didn't use a gun, if he used a pressure cooker or a pipe bomb, it wouldn't have been any different. We have to condemn all forms of violence, despite the types of tools used.
Asiya, what's your gut reaction to something like that?
Well, he did have an AR-15 rifle. So, again, if the federal law had still been in place, where you ban those weapons, then we wouldn't be having this conversation about the rifle to begin with.
Premise that if we ban something, it's going to make it just magically disappear, and anything that could be done with those weapons would not happen. Why don't we just apply that logic to Paris? Those rifles are already banned in Paris and all throughout France. You cannot purchase one. But people that are bent in crime don't care. They don't follow the law. They break the law. Why don't we just make murder illegal so that no one can murder someone?
I would never want to join a group of people when so many are mourning that they're standing behind the use of guns. It's inappropriate.
It's not inappropriate. The fact is that the laws in Florida prohibited anyone in a nightclub from being able to defend themselves.
If you had a gun to defend yourself, you wouldn't know where the shots were coming from.
Who do you shoot? I mean,
exactly.
If somebody else is in there with a gun, who do you shoot? In terms of when you have those type of situations, if the police come in and somebody's with a firearm, that's the person that's going to be the target. So somebody in there who's trying to help, calm the thing, prevent the thing from escalating, could be the very person that gets taken out by the police, because the police don't know who the good guys are and the bad guys are in a situation like that with guns.
Asiya, of course, most of the gun violence that you see in Essex County particularly is accomplished with illegal guns. Does that make much of a difference in this discussion?
It does make a difference because, again, they have illegal guns because of easy access to illegal guns. The state of New Jersey's laws are pretty good, but it's nothing for somebody to go right into Pennsylvania to purchase guns. And again, we have these people who are these straw buyers who buy guns for people who for felons who can't have that don't have access and can't purchase them legally. So the fact that they've got easy access to guns, in as much as those guns may have been purchased legally, then they're traded off or sold off to people that have bad intent.
Real quickly, Alex.
That's a complete lie, because people that are already prohibited and barred from owning and purchasing firearms in New Jersey cannot go to Pennsylvania and purchase a firearm there. That's just a lack of knowledge of knowing how the background system works.
But it's also very simple for someone who can get a gun legally to buy guns and then bring them to New Jersey.
And that's already illegal. It's called a straw purchaser.
Right.
Those people serve serious crime, and since you brought that up, President Obama has let many of those people already committed and convicted of those crimes let go on early release.
We have just a couple minutes left. Let me ask you two on the end here, is there any common ground that you can find where a tweak of gun control laws as they exist now, or a total change of gun control laws, is there any common ground? Let's start with
our mission is, our goal is to make sure that people that felons, domestic abusers, terrorists don't have easy access to these guns. And I think we can do that with making sure that we have a background check for everybody. Everybody gets a background check.
Alex,
and I don't see anything wrong with that.
Capacity, background checks.
Of easy access to guns. There is no easy access to guns. There's people that break the law and sell guns illegally. And those people are the ones that should be targeted, and we should be very strict on those crimes.
So you're saying access to illegal guns is not simple? Is that what you just said?
I'm saying it is not simple the way she's framing it.
It is simple.
It's not simple. How about we just ban guns like we did in Paris, and that way no crimes can ever be committed with guns? Everywhere in the world that's banned guns or have severely restricted it, their violence has skyrocketed like it happened in Great Britain.
Well, all I have to say to that is that you can go talk to any 13-year-old, 12-year-old here in the city of Newark, ask them where they can get a gun. They can tell you where they can get a gun. So if it's that easy, that I can ask a 12-year-old kid, where can I buy a gun, and they can show me and tell me that's not simple. Tell me that's not easy access.
You're saying that there is no easy access to guns. You're saying that there is easy access to guns. Is there no way for you to find any common ground on that?
Well, she's fabricating and exaggerating
I'm not
things.
fabricating and exaggerating. I'm telling you facts. I live in the city of Newark. I know what happens.
I live in the city of New York as well.
Well, then you know that it's easy access to guns. Anybody can get a gun.
How come this is not happening in the suburbs? You don't think it's a cultural issue that people are living in poverty, horrible education,
that's
terrible
all part
living
of it.
situations?
That's all a part of it.
Oh, it's a part of it. But
that's
you want
to.
I never heard you talking about addressing the economy, addressing job situations.
You never heard me. First of all,
all you're doing is
let me leave that as a point of disagreement.
As a personal person, because you don't know me personally, so you don't know what I talk about.
I've never seen you discuss.
Let me leave that
you don't know me
as a disagreement and ask here for Christian and Abdul. Your two communities have been brought together by this tragedy. Is there an opportunity for common ground from your two communities?
Well, I think it's really important that we have this conversation, but we need to remember that the largest mass shooting just took place in Orlando. Right now is a time to come together and talk with one another, support each other, and I think that's what we're doing.
But at the same time, let me just also add that I think that we need to take the aspect of religion out of this, because, for example, in Los Angeles, on the exact same day, you had a guy who was stopped had explosives in his car, a lot of rounds of ammunition, going to a pride parade to commit terror against that. And no mention was mentioned of his religion, no mention was mentioned of his race or anything like that. But he was a white person, all right? And now, had he been a Muslim, that would have been another conversation altogether. So we need to take religion, quote unquote, out of this, all right, and understand that terror is terror, regardless as to who commits it and who it's against.
That's something that all of us here can agree on?
Absolutely. Exactly. I hope I can be part of that conversation as well.
Abdul Mubarak Rowe, Alexander Rubian, Christian Fuscarino, and Asiya Akil. Thank you very much, all of you, for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.